let's talk about it. I just finished watching it just a moment ago, maybe 5 minutes ago. The episode ended, and not as good as episode 3, but I do still think this is better than the first 2 episodes in this series, and I think we're heading in the right direction, and I think that this is setting up a pretty good conclusion. So, as always, I took notes on my phone as I was watching the episode, and I was just going to go over the talking points that I wrote down as I was watching. We open up, Obi-Wan is getting dragged off the planet, because episode 3 he was covered in burns after Vader pulled him down into the fire, and they throw him into a back-to-tank. And one interesting thing, seeing Vader in the back-to-tank, or Obi-Wan in the back-to-tank, and you see him kind of struggling and his brow furrowing and doing that number. And then it cuts and you see Darth Vader doing the same thing in his back-to-tank that he has to live in while he's not in the suit. And so I think it was kind of hinting at or showing that they have some sort of force connection, and they were maybe sensing each other or like reaching out to each other through the force while they were in that back-to-tank. That's what I gleaned from it, at least. I'm not sure. Then Obi-Wan wakes up, and kind of a funny, like a very sort of okay type moment is he gets out. He's on the planet where they used to smuggle the people through the planet, and there's this guy who actually he refers to Obi-Wan as a general. So I thought like maybe this guy fought in the Clone Wars, although he did not look like a clone. It was not what's his name, Demura Morrison. It was not that actor, but and he's like very adamant. He's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you, like all this stuff. And then Obi-Wan says like one thing, and the guy immediately is like, okay, I'll help you. Like, zero resistance whatsoever. Obi-Wan did not even use a mind trick. The guy just immediately changes his mind at the drop of a hat. I thought that was kind of funny, but then we're looking at young Leia, who has been kidnapped by the third sister. I know they keep saying her actual name, but I can't for the life of me like hold on to it. I know it's very short. It's like 4 letters. It's one of those like very short kind of ethereal Star Wars fantasy names that I have a hard time like holding on to because they all sound kind of similar. But Leia's being interrogated by the third sister, and one thing I really that stood out to me during this moment is that the actress who plays the young Leia Organa, she's a very good actress, especially for a child. There were little moments where in their conversation she's like showing the emotion in her eyes, on her face. And that's one thing, like with child actors, a lot of them, they'll go in and they can read their lines, and they can even, inject some emotion into the lines. But a lot of them struggle with the acting a appear on the face. And that's one thing that really stood out to me about her performance, is that she's a pretty good child actress. Actually, I want to see what her name is. I want to see what her name is, just so I know I'm giving her the right credit. Hold on. Sorry, it just brought up Carrie Fisher for some reason. Well, not for some reason, but okay, what's her name? Just not showing up. That's kind of wild. They have like all the cast lists. Okay, Vivian Blair is her name. Vivian Blair. And yeah, she's very good. She's very good. And then during that interrogation scene, Reva, I just saw it, by the way, the third sister's name is Reva. I will try to remember that. Reva says this line to Leia that is, the only person that can save you is you. Which I thought was like a very telling character moment for her, and into the kind of an insight into her backstory. Because my theory, and this is a theory I've seen a lot of people have, so I'm not claiming to be like uniquely intelligent, but my theory is that Reva, the third sister, was a Jedi youngling. At the scene that happened at the beginning of the first episode, she was a youngling during Order 66, and either she feels abandoned by Obi-Wan Kenobi and the rest of the Jedi Order, or something, and she's like kind of had to fend for herself, and she had to get herself out of that situation. And that's why she has the resentment that she has towards Kenobi in particular. So I thought that line was very interesting. The only person that can save you is you. That's, I think, a good insight into her. Also, we got the return of the rebreather, the little mouth bit from the Phantom Menace, from when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon were diving and swimming down to the Gungan city in the Phantom Menace. So I thought seeing that return was cool, because that's one of the most, like, a very interesting and cool looking prop, in my opinion. Then they just straight up strapped Leia into that torture device. Like, the thing starts closing on her, she's like screaming, and they literally were about to torture a child in this show. And then in the last episode, they had Darth Vader snap a child's neck using the Force. So they are like not pulling any punches with this series. Like, a lot of shows and movies kind of have this unwritten rule that children are off limits. I think even in like the most recent Halloween film, or no, because Halloween Kills just came out. The one before that, the second most recent Halloween film, there was a scene where Michael had like his knife, and he was looking at a baby in a crib, and then he walked away. So like even in horror movies and like slasher movies, there's kind of this unwritten rule of certain people you just don't kill on screen. But no, not Star Wars, not the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. They are just harming children left, right, and center. But hey, I mean, if you want to show how evil the Sith or the Empire can be, then not a bad way to do it. Then they had one interesting thing. So there's a scene where Obi-Wan he's sneaking through the base base, and he comes into this big, he calls it a tomb, and you see all of the dead Jedi behind this, like, it looked like amber glass, this yellow glass, and he makes a note to, like, notice certain people, and you see close-ups of certain people. One of the close-ups, by the way, being a dead youngling. So again, they're not shying away from that at all. There is a dead child encased in amber in the basement of this place, and they show a full close-up of it. But one of the ones that they didn't show in a close-up is you see in the background when he's just standing there in the wide shot, Master Plo Koon. Plo Koon was encased in amber, and I'm gonna go back and watch, or just see if I can find a screenshot of that scene in particular to see if I notice anybody else. But I did notice that Plo Koon was encased in the amber glass, but they didn't call attention to it. I thought they would, seeing as it's like one of those powerful Jedi Masters. He was a council member, but apparently not. Then it is very interesting. It's kind of a continuation over from episode 3, what we saw, but when Obi-Wan when he goes and saves Leia, there's the distraction, and I think her name was like Della, the woman who's been helping him. She like calls in the third sister and is like hitting her with this whole like lie about being a spy. But like you see him, Obi-Wan, ignites his lightsaber in the pitch black room and starts taking out the stormtroopers, which was visually a very cool scene. And then as he has Leia and he's running through the halls and escaping, he's like getting shot at, and you see him deflecting blaster bolts. And I like how they're showing that he is still not wholly comfortable using his lightsaber again. He still has some of that awkwardness about it, and you can tell like he's doing a very good job with the acting, where you can tell it still feels kind of weird in his hand, the way he's holding it and the way he's swinging it. It's almost like very undisciplined in a way, and I hope that goes away towards the end, like maybe in the next episode and then into episode 6, when I'm assuming he's gonna have a big lightsaber duel with Darth Vader. I'd like to see us get back to prequel, mainly Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber duel, where he's very clinical and very defensive, because that's Obi-Wan Kenobi is the best defensive duelist in the entire Jedi order. He's the best defensive duelist, and I'd like to see him get back to that very nice, elegant sword fighting style that he had, like I said, specifically in episode 3. And I'm assuming there's gonna be a moment where he's just getting the rust off, and then he comes back. That's what I'm hoping for. If he's going into the end of this series fighting Darth Vader and he's still using the lightsaber like that, I might feel a little bit disappointed, but we'll see. Then he's holding back the water using the Force while the stormtroopers are coming to give Leia and like I said, I think her name was Della, a chance to escape. And then he lets the water go and floods him out and runs. I thought that was really cool. Again, kind of showing him bringing back that connection with the Force, exploring it a little bit more because it had been severed for so long. And then they do the classic. He's trying to escape, and he has Leia in a trench coat. So he's wearing a trench coat, and she's at his feet or something. And I was watching that, and I was like, there's no way this disguise is gonna work. And wouldn't you know it, the disguise doesn't work. Reva immediately comes out and is like, traitor, and yells at the woman who's been posing as a captain. And then two A-Wings show up. I think the two pilots in the A-Wings were the two people from the planet before the start of the episode that helped save Kenobi. So they come in and they do this like strafing run in the base, like blowing it all up. And then Kenobi, Leia, and the woman get on one of the A-Wings, it flies away, and then the other one's starting to fly away, and Reva destroys it. In what was probably supposed to be a sad moment, but I didn't really know who was piloting it, so whatever. That whole escape from the base sequence, though, that was very reminiscent of like old school Star Wars, like episode 6, the base on Endor, attacking the base on Endor, the Phantom Menace when they're escaping Naboo, and again they're in the hangar running through the Royal City, attacking the Death Star and then flying out, like that whole escaping the secret base and like having to like, you know, sneak around and get through the secret base. That is very classic Star Wars. It's like a staple. There's at least one moment in every trilogy that's like that. Episode when they destroy Starkiller Base. Is that episode 8 or episode 7? I think it's episode 7. Yeah, episode 7 even has a moment like that, The Force Awakens. So that's traditional Star Wars stuff. And I was like watching that and I'm like, alright, this is a Star Wars show. Also, we're seeing a lot of Darth Vader in this series. Now that they've introduced him, Darth Vader's everywhere. At the end he comes in and he's like angry. Like probably vocally more angry than we've ever seen Vader, and he's like force chokes up Reva and he's like, "You're incompetence." I don't know if he says incompetence, but he's basically gonna kill her. But then she's like, "No, like I put a tracker on them and we're gonna be able to follow them right to wherever they're going." So Vader lets her go and he's like, "Maybe I underestimated you." I think that was like a direct rip of audio from another time Vader said that same line, because it sounded a little different than some of the other lines he said in this show. So I think that might have just been like an audio clip from an older movie. And then finally, Lola, the little robot, was turned into the tracker we see at the end. You see the eye goes from blue to red, because Reva was like playing with it a little bit while she was interrogating Leia. So she was holding it in her hand and like doing stuff with it. So clearly she turned Lola into a tracker. And I didn't know if she was bluffing Vader or not. Like I thought there was a possibility that she was just lying to Vader and that there wasn't actually a tracker, but no, apparently it actually is. So clearly where we're going for this next couple of episodes is Obi-Wan and Leia are escaping, and I'm assuming they're going to go back to that planet, but then the Empire's gonna find that planet where they've been smuggling the people out of, and Darth Vader and the Inquisitors are gonna show up and probably kill everybody. Then I imagine Obi-Wan and Leia are gonna like run again, and then episode 6 is probably gonna be our final Kenobi versus Vader battle, I have to assume. But yeah, it feels like we're at the rising action moment right now. You know, that classic plot loop, whatever, like the intro, the rising action, the climax, the falling action. Feels like we're in the rising action right now. We're starting to ramp up, and I think we're going to be hitting our climax. Well, obviously, there's only 2 episodes left, although apparently it's been renewed for season 2. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, having a season 2 of this show, but season 1 has contained limited miniseries. I think we're going to get our big Vader fight might happen in episode 5, honestly. The big fight might happen in episode 5. And then episode 6 will be about returning Leia to Alderaan, Obi-Wan going back to Tatooine, and maybe we see Luke at the very end or something. I'm not sure, but I think it is very possible that next episode we get the big Obi-Wan versus Vader fight, but we'll see. But like I said, this probably was my second favorite episode so far, behind episode 3, which is what is my favorite episode so far. This is probably, I don't know, didn't I give episode 3 like an 8.2? This is probably like an 8.0, 7.9, 8.0, something like that. I don't know. The actual numbers don't mean anything at this point. It just is what it is, but I enjoyed it. If you watched this episode, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this every single day. We got GeoGuessr coming out tomorrow. Day after that, I'm doing my Star Wars tier list. And then beyond that, I don't know. Stay tuned. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.